One of my favorite stories is my journey in Death Valley. I went to Death Valley to be in a vision fast. And so in a vision fast, I would fast for 4 days and 4 nights in isolation. I did this because I was in a phase in my life where I was wanting to get clear on what the next vision of my life is. In this journey, I arrived in the desert with a group of men. We spent the first day together, setting intentions, setting rules, what would happen if a cougar were to attack us, how to navigate rattlesnakes. Death Valley, for those of you who don't know, is one of the most dangerous places on earth, but I would say one of the most dangerous places in the US. It is filled with rattlesnakes, it is filled with cougars, it is filled with hot temperatures during the day and then cold temperatures at night. And I went on this journey, and for me, I'm a little bit of a high performer. And I love high peaks. I love being up high. I love seeing the valleys. I love being able to see everything around me. And so immediately, the first thing I do is go and look for a peak of a mountain that I can actually spend the next 4 days and 4 nights on. We were to pick our spot that was in isolation, that wasn't around anybody, that we can just be in for that 4 days and 4 nights. And so I finally climbed and climbed and climbed and got to the peak of what was the most easily accessible mountain I could find. I ended up going to the top of that mountain, and that was my first bit of confrontation because one of the other guys in the Vision Fast was actually just, 50 meters from me down below on a different sort of cliff. And we had this little standoff of who is going to take this spot. I told him, I said, hey, look, I'm good with you staying here with me, but this is my spot. I'm being in this spot. There's no way I am going to do anything less. One of the reasons I took the spot was for this little cave that was on top of the mountain. And in this cave, it could only fit, a couple bags. It wasn't very big, but while sitting in that cave, I could see everything. I can see where our campsite is. I can see the horizon. And maybe it was that I was in the unknown, and therefore I wanted to be in an environment where I can see something, where I could know something, right? And so I decided this would be my camp spot. And night one, I did what anybody would do when they first get into the desert alone for 4 days. I got naked and I started just enjoying the weather, enjoying the sun, enjoying myself. That got old very quick. Did I tell you that I wasn't going to eat for 4 days and 4 nights? This wasn't a camping trip. This was a water only 4 days, 4 nights experience where I would be focused on meditation, focused on growth, focused on my vision. There was no entertainment, no phones, no fiction books. There was just isolation with yourself in the middle of nature, in the middle of nowhere. And night one, I began to set up my tent in an open space on top of the cliff. I didn't think this would be an issue. This was my lesson. I didn't spend a whole lot of time in the middle of the deserts. I don't know about you. And so I get to the top of this mountain. I'm at the top of this mountain. I'm setting up my tent and I get ready for bed. And immediately I sense the temperature drop. Now I knew it was going to be a difference. I knew it was going to be hot in the day, cold at night. What I didn't know was how cold it was going to be. The temperature dropped somewhere from 30 degrees, 35 degrees, down to 5 degrees. Massive, massive jump. And so I'm cuddled up under multiple sleeping bags in my tent. The wind starts picking up, and I'm just trying to get to bed. Finally, somehow, somewhere, I mean, in the tent, but somehow I ended up falling asleep. But then in the middle of the night, I wake up. I just finished having nightmares, and all I hear is the sound of wind thrashing, thrashing, thrashing. And I'm terrified. I'm terrified for a few reasons. I'm terrified because I didn't, one, know or expect the wind to be this intense. Two, the sound of the wind makes me not want to go outside. Three, this is my first night in the middle of the desert. I don't know what's out there. And so I do my best to chill inside of my tent and relax and hang out. And all of a sudden, I hear crack, the sound of my tent crack. And the entire tent collapses on me. Now, you'd probably expect that this would be the time that I would leave the tent and maybe go outside, scout the area, do something. But for me, it was like maybe 3 in the morning. And there was no way I was stepping outside. The fear overtook me. Honestly, the fear overtook me. And so I decided that no, this is where I would be. This tent was my comfort zone. This tent was my safety. And the next night, I had to scavenge around and try to find another place that I can sleep. And I had an idea, that cliff, that cave that I was in, maybe I can set up my sleep. Two little geese over here. They used to come on our property, but we set up these strings so that the geese would be fully blocked and wouldn't think to come on our property. It looks like they're now trying to find somewhere else, but they're not coming here, which means no geese poop, which means we're winning. So that night I get ready to sleep, and I'm honestly pretty scared because now I'm sleeping outside. Like, I'm vulnerable. My tent was my safety. And it's so interesting how often we do this, right? We create a story of what safety means in our mind. So we tell ourselves that our hometown is safety, so let's not leave. Our partner that's bad for us is safe, so let's not leave them. My job is safe, so let's not leave my jobs. We create an environment of safety that ends up acting as a cage. And this cage keeps us stuck from doing the things we actually want to do. This cage keeps us stuck from living our lives. And so what we need to do is start to practice stepping outside of our cages. And so this night was a forced version of that. I had to step outside of my cage. And in this sense, my cage was my tent. My tent was broken. I couldn't sleep in my tent anymore. And so I slept outside. And what I thought was going to be one of the worst nights of my life ended up one of the best. You see, that cave that I was in blocked the wind perfectly. So not only did I didn't feel the wind, I could hardly hear the wind. I could sleep peacefully looking at the night sky, the beautiful stars, and seeing the horizon all around me. It was stunning. I felt held, I felt guided, I felt taken care of. And it was in that moment that I realized that so many of our fears are in here. So many of our fears are actually just products, creations of the mind designed to keep us safe. Instead, in reality, the unknown is where we're meant to be. The exploration, the adventure, the magic, that is where we're meant to be. So I slept wonderfully for the next few nights there, under the stars, feeling held by nature, feeling safe, feeling that night at the end of the 4 days and 4 nights, which by the way, I wasn't as hungry as I thought I would be. But I could have kept going for another few nights even. But in coming back, it was a ceremonially beautiful moment. It was the moment of coming home to community. We were welcomed with tea, we were welcomed with some light food. And, I remember coming back and being like, yeah, this is what this is for. We go, life is for these adventures where we can step into the unknown and then bring the gifts that we brought back into community, right? That's the journey we're all on. That's why we do what we do. We go on our adventures, we expand, we go and learn, we go out into the world, and then we get to bring back those gifts to humanity. We get to bring back those things to our community, to our families. Right? That's what life's about. But when we stay inside of our cage and we don't go out in the world, we never gather a gift that we can bring, and we never feel whole, because that's what it means to be human. That's what it means to be human, to go out into the world, to create, to find something, to learn something, to create something, and to go bring it back to those that you love, so you can see the way that your work and your adventure and your story makes a difference. And so I got to come back to community ceremonially from these 4 days and 4 nights. And once you finish these ceremonies, they give you a name. Mine was White Heart, to signify my journey of surrendering to my heart. White Heart, which I think is more symbolized now than ever, because I'm on this journey of, choosing to express these stories in my life, choosing to share stories of others that I'm inspired by, choosing to have conversations with those who inspire me on their journey of courage, so we could all be reminded about the place that we have in the world, so that we could all be reminded of the magic that we could bring to the world. But it requires us to step out of our fear, out of our safety, out of our cage, out of our tent, and into the unknown. That's it for today's story. Y'all, my story at Death Valley. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to subscribe, to give me a follow, give me a like, give me a comment. I'll have more stories of courage coming out from myself, from others, as we spread this mission to help you step into a courageous life, to help you choose to do the things that you're afraid to do, because life is worth it. You are worth it, and humanity needs you. Thank you.